Welcome to the Show Me the Way podcast. I am your host, Andrea Miller, alongside a dear, dear friend, Tammy Thompson, and we are so excited to bring this podcast to you. Show Me the Way podcast is a podcast dedicated to exploring the journeys of those who have faced adversity and found themselves on unexpected paths. We will have meaningful, thoughtful conversations about challenges we have faced and how we discovered and forged new direction. Prepare to be inspired and to uncover your own strength as you listen to relatable and motivating stories. Life has a way of twisting and turning, and we often need a fresh perspective to understand how to navigate. Let's show each other the way. This episode is pure fire. My guest, Michele Redmond, shares powerful life lessons she's gathered through the years from her parents, her husband, motherhood, and her many roles and experiences. Michele opens up about the importance of loving ourselves first and truly acknowledging our personal needs so we can pour into others and show up fully in our relationships. She's found a beautiful balance between personal joy and giving to those around her, and how that balance is the key to a happy life. As she approaches a milestone birthday, her reflections are not only meaningful to her, but deeply inspiring and relevant to all of us, no matter our age or stage in life. Welcome back to the Show Me the Way podcast. I'm super excited for today's guest. Prepare to be motivated and inspired the second this woman opens her mouth. Michele Redmond is another beautiful soul that I had the fortune of meeting while working with my previous direct sales company. Every week, I would see Michele's name on our leaderboard and just watch as she would continue to bring it, share her success and amazing strategies with us all. If everyone had the attitude and outlook on life that Michele has, this world would be a much better place. Since that time, I've continued to follow her and watch her success in other businesses. She consistently shows up for others and for herself. Michele shines every day and always shows others how to do the same and to take advantage of the short time we have on this earth. Michele, thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to speak with you. Welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, Andrea, I'm like crying listening to that. Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so moved. Oh, I'm so glad and feel so honored that you want to talk with me today. Thank you.
Good. I think my listeners are going to agree with everything that I said after they listen. So we're all happy to have you here. With that being said, why don't you share a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, family, that kind of thing?
Yeah, awesome. I am. So, first of all, I just celebrated 28 years of marriage with the man that is the rock of my life. And I have two boys, so I'm a boy mom, and there's no other estrogen in this house. So I get to be the queen of the house, which I love. I have one that's 25 and one that's a senior. So going off to college, and I'm about to enter into a new phase of my life because I won't have kids in the house anymore. I'm a native of Atlanta, Georgia. I have been here all my life and I love it, except we don't have the ocean. And I'm just grateful I wake up every day and feel healthy.
Oh, I love that. See, I knew everyone would just want to hear from you because you do. You just bring joy. You're making me smile from ear to ear here. Now, I'm going to tell you, I went to Florida last week and we did not love Atlanta, Georgia. But that was because it was a road trip and I live in Michigan and everybody drove from Michigan to Florida last week. So it was crazy. But I'm sure when you're not driving on I-75 during spring break, it is
Yes.
a really fun place to be.
Yes. We have horrible traffic. Horrible.
Yes, yes. But anyway, that was a sidebar there. But I have two boys too, so definitely can relate to being the queen. Although my pup is a girl, so I've got one other girl in the house. But yes, that's awesome, and congratulations, 28 years. That's amazing. And as I told everybody, I follow you, so I always see all the wonderful posts you put out there about the relationship you have with your husband. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that as we continue on. As you know, the Show Me the Way podcast really started out because I have a son that has muscular dystrophy and I wanted to share my story. I have been sharing it for years, but I just felt like I needed a platform where others could hear when I thought my path was going in one direction, it went a completely different direction and I needed to pivot and the perspective that I've learned from that. So since then, we actually have had 30 episodes so far. I'm really excited to say that. So this is 31. And
Congratulations.
thank
That's
you, thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. And I've had all kinds of stories. You know, some people have shared similar situations like me with a child with a diagnosis. I've had people talk about their time in hospitals, but I've also had people just talk about like what life looks like and after they've lived so many years, the different times they've had to pivot and how they dealt with that and the perspective they've learned. I feel like everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has things that they can share based on what they've done through life. So I know that we're going to learn from you no matter which direction you go. With that said, I would love to hear anything that's on your heart, and it can be a specific story about a time you've had to pivot or just general, how you've gotten to be the successful woman that you are today.
Oh, oh my God, that's kind of a loaded question.
It is, isn't it?
It really is a loaded question. I would say, people always say, actually, this is funny. I was walking into the gym yesterday and I was not motivated to work out. For some reason, I just did not feel the drive. And as I'm walking in, a girl was walking out and she went to high school with me. So she's been to high school with me and we've kind of connected at some of the reunions and I'd seen her in the gym, but so as I'm walking in and she's all done, I said, "Oh girl, I am so not motivated today." She goes, "Michelle, you've been freaking motivated your whole life." And I just like when she said that, I just kind of resonated for a minute. I was like, I kind of have been pretty motivated most of my life. And I think it's just I think as I've aged, my mom told me that since I came out of her, I've been a spitfire in drive motion. She says, I can remember you as a little girl, always excited to go to your gymnastic meets and to place number one. Like you've always been competitive and you've always thrived on being your best self. And I'm about to turn 60. I can't believe it.
I
Sometimes
can't believe it either.
I'm just like, oh my gosh. What I think about is I have less years in front of me than I have had behind me. And it's been kind of a lot of months I'm reflecting of like, am I where I want to be? Have I done the things I want to do? Not to say that I don't have lots of years ahead of me, but 60 is a big deal for me. Like it's just feeling like, whoa. Like I remember when I was young and I looked at people and I'm like, you're old. Like I'd look at my friends' parents and go, you're old, like 60. And I just really am learning more and more about really happiness is such an inside job. It doesn't matter how many awards I've gotten in my life or placing number one or how much money I've made or, it really gets down to like, how am I really feel inside? Like, do I feel good about myself? Am I happy? Am I at peace? And that's pretty much how I try to live my day is really intentionally being present in the day and present with myself. And I think that's where my happiness comes from.
I love that. It's very interesting to me because people will say they watch friends and family on social media and they'll say that's just a story. It's not true. It's not real. They're not authentic. You can post whatever you want. But when you post and when you share, it's real. It's genuine. It's exactly what you just said. That's the way you show up. And I strongly believe that everybody that knows you and follows you would say the same thing. You can look at a lot of people and say, "Oh, there they go again, trying to spread joy and it's all fake." But I do not see that with you at all. So I love that you expressed it in that way because it's exactly what I see.
I try to be the same person on social media as I am off. I want to be in a crowd and somebody come up to me and I'm who I am. I look who I am. And that's all, that's being authentic. And that's the only way I can be.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. It has been really fun to watch you and learn from you over the years. And I still do. I still get to watch you and still admire how you show up. And yeah, that's something to really be proud of, that you do show up the same way that you are in person.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Of course,
Yeah.
of
Thank
course.
you.
So 60, wow. I look at you, and if everybody was watching, if you could see Michelle, you would not think that she's going to be 60. So we all want to know what the secret is. When we're 60, how do we look like you do or have the energy that you have?
Oh, you are so sweet. Like if you lived by me, we'd be having coffee for
Oh, we would be
sure.
besties. Yeah, I'd be
For sure.
following you around.
Um, I have always been into fitness. And I think I started exercising at a very young age. I was a gymnast. I went to University of Georgia and I worked for the men's team. I was a Georgia Gem and I kind of like assisted the men's team when they used to have men's gymnastics there. And then at a very young age, after gymnastics, I got into competitive aerobic competitions. The step company sponsored me, flew me out to LA to try out for the National Reebok Aerobics team. And that was a really big thing for me. And I really saw fitness at a whole new level being out in California. But what I love about exercising is I don't always love the drive to do it, but I love the benefits that I get from it. Like, I just love how I feel after I move my body. And it's kind of carried me all through my life. Exercise has always been a huge component of my day-to-day living. And I'm so like, if I could share with any woman out there, like whatever age you are, keep your body moving, because I think that is the true I think that's why I feel the way I feel. I've never had Botox. I have never had fillers. I've had nothing ever done. And listen, I am somebody that cheers for you. Really, whatever makes you happy, it's your life. If it makes you happy, then do it, right? I'm all about that. So, because I've never done all that stuff, I like when I look in the mirror and I see some of the wrinkles coming around my eyes, my lips, and you know, I know I'm aging, but I really still like feel so good. Like I feel beautiful inside, and maybe that's how I see myself outside. But coming up on 60, like the key to my feeling good, I don't think there's a secret formula. I think it's just the basics. It's being spiritually fit for me. It's like up here in the head, the mental thought, the thinking, how I talk to myself. Um, the emotional relationships I have in my life, how intense and wonderful my relationships are. So I guess if I'm loving myself, I'm loving the people better, I'm healthier. And then I'm physically taking care of myself, eating good food, trying to eat my best. Believe me, I love junk and I love sugar, but in moderation, and really exercising. So I think by doing all those things, that is that's the guarantee that I think we all can have a better opportunity to feel and live our best when I'm doing all those things. And I'll tell you, Andrea, when I'm not in when all those things like mentally, well, I like to say spiritually, emotionally, physically, when all those things aren't aligned and one's missing, I'm not usually feeling in my best. So I really I would say I'm not afraid to age because I know I'm doing everything on my end to be as healthy as I can be. And that again, going to the doctors and doing all that stuff. But really it every morning I wake up and I connect and I pray. I always say, let it be an amazing day and let it begin with me.
I have to note that. I love that. An amazing day and let it begin with me. Yeah, I've brought this up probably 7 or 8 times in my podcasts recently, but I'm obsessed with the let them theory from Mel Robbins, and it's the same thing. It's like you can only have control of yourself. You don't have control of anybody else out there. Now, I ultimately believe God has control, so that's my spiritual belief there, but secondary, you are the only one that can make decisions about yourself, and it depends on how you're going to wake up each morning. Are you going to wake up each morning and feel sorry for yourself, or look in the mirror and say, "Ah, another wrinkle," or are you going to celebrate everything that's brought you to this moment in life and just keep going on positively throughout your day?
Absolutely. That's huge. In fact, my mom is a very big part of my life and we're very 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 close. She lives about 10 minutes from me and she's going to be 86 and she is a spitfire. Like she is just amazing. And something that's been really powerful for me that we learn sometimes we hear things from people and then like those little nuggets, they just you take them and they like make a big difference in how you live your day. And for as long as I can remember, every time I call my mom, we always talk, we check in and I'll call her and I'm like, Mom, how are you doing today? And she's like, you know what? As long as I feel good, it's going to be a great day. And what she means by that is her feet hit the floor and she feels healthy today. And like I always do that too. Like every morning, every single morning, I make a conscious effort to have some quiet time with myself before I start my day. And that quiet time is, my son's off at school and I grab my coffee and I will sit there and I will quiet my mind and open my heart. And I will ask myself, how do I feel today? What's going on with me? And usually it might be a resentment I have with somebody that I'm struggling with, or it might be I feel insecure in a particular area, or it might be I have a fear somewhere, or it might be I'm tired. And so I always have to ask myself, what are those things? And once I can channel in what that one area is, then I can work on that. And it might
Mhm.
be to ask for help. It might be I need to pray a little bit more around that particular area. And so that's my morning is I call God, that's who I pray to. But if it's not God, it could be whatever works for you is what works for you. And I close my eyes and I just kind of get centered a little bit. And my days are so much better. They're so much better. And then I get on with my day.
I wonder how many people do that. I think we can all take a little lesson here that that's just a quick question and a quick assessment you can ask of yourself every single day. You're not going to see a doctor every day. So if you're not getting an overall look or checkup, then do your own personal checkup. How do I feel today? And it's okay if you feel tired or like today, it's pouring rain here. It's gray. It's not pretty. I woke up in the morning and I thought, I want to go right back to bed. So it's okay if you feel that, but then assess, okay, what do I need to do to make it a better day or to get myself out of bed? And I also like how you said your mom's outlook, how she thinks to herself, I'm grateful to be alive today. I'm feeling good today. And I think about that a lot, especially with my son. I'm grateful that I can put my feet on the ground and I can walk.
Mhm,
He can't do that.
mhm.
So the things that we take for granted, it's like sometimes they might seem small, but thank goodness I'm able to take my dog for a walk, although not today because like I said, it's pouring rain, but I can put one foot in front of the other. So if you can just be grateful about the things that you do have, then that can also change your outlook on life as well. So
100%.
I
Yeah.
love that. So let's go back. You told us a lot about the training and the competitive uh, bodybuilding and all of that. That's so interesting. How did you get to where you are today? I mean, you're making jewelry, you are representing, you're doing network marketing, representing different brands. How did you get to where you are today?
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure that's a
Well,
loaded question too.
that's a loaded. I like loaded
Yeah.
questions. So I when I graduated from college, I've always been in sales. Always. Like I have been in sales forever. My dad says I was always trying to sell him something.
Yeah, that
Totally.
makes sense.
100%, but and sales to me is the relationship building. But I love if I believe in something and I am excited about it, I share it. But I actually was in the fitness business, which is so interesting because I look back, I haven't had a ton of jobs. I was in a big competition in Atlanta, a huge fitness competition in Atlanta, and a guy came up to me at a really big chain of health clubs here in Atlanta, very big back in the 90s. And he asked me if I've ever been in the fitness industry. Do I want to sell health club memberships? And I'm like, I've got a degree. I don't want to be a little salesperson in a health club. Long story short, I ended up starting out in entry level sales when people walk in the door. I stayed with that company for 7.5 years. I worked my way up into general manager of operations. I did phenomenal with that company, but I had no life. I worked 60 hours. I mean, I worked, health clubs. If you go into a health club, if any of you guys go into a health club, you're always seeing salespeople wanting to tour the clubs. And I worked a lot of hours. I had no life. I literally had, this is a big part of me too, that I don't know if anybody ever knows. I was a workaholic. I literally on the weekends, especially when you ran a club, you were in charge of all these different departments. When I finally had a day off, I was doing laundry or sleeping. I never really had good relationships. I didn't date a lot because I worked a lot. And the guys that I chose were like bodybuilder fitness kind of guys that were so consumed in their bodies, they didn't care about really me as much. And so I worked a lot. I was asked to go work at an all chain of clubs to help women, more just centered toward women. And it was like a very big promotion to run this up and starting chain. And when I walked in, this girl that was going to be one of my reps asked me if I was dating anybody. I said no. And she said, I got to introduce you to my one of my good friends, and it's my husband today. But I got out of that business because I didn't have a life. I worked so much that I didn't enjoy dating and doing things like what people do on the weekends and what people do at night. I worked so much. That was a really pivotal part looking back, that I never want that ever in my life again. I never want a job to be my everything. I want a balance in my life. And so from there, strange it is, I went into some outside sales, sold security cameras for big companies, did some outside sales. And then I decided I've always loved jewelry. I love beautiful, unique, one of a kind, cool pieces. I love jewelry. I love the artistic side. So I started wearing cool jewelry, and I would play tennis and girls were like, I love your jewelry. And I'd have it. Anyway, long story short, I got into the jewelry business and started my own business. And this year will be 25 years in the business. And I didn't really share a lot on social media. It was back in the day where you would do home shows. And I wasn't even on social media till maybe like 8 years ago. I never cared about social media. I really just got into being on social media and sharing me. And so I started my own jewelry business, and then COVID came and I was introduced to network marketing, which had no idea what that was. And that I joined an athleisure company, which was my heart and soul, and did that. And then, I've always liked having something of my own. And I think that's like a big lesson for women. One of the little nuggets that I've learned for myself is that I always want to be never 100% dependent on somebody. I love my husband and we have a beautiful life together. But as a woman, I love my independency. I love making money on my own. I love having something I call my own. I love the feeling of being independent. And those are things that make me who I am today and are very important for me. I did fall into the mom mode when I did not have my first till I was 32 and did not have my second till I was 41. I fell into the mom mode, which I'm grateful and love, and was a stay-home mom, but I always longed to have a little something of my own on the side.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you touched on a couple of really good things. One is the relationship building. So you really didn't need social media because you're so good one to one or at a group setting. So you can totally be successful without social media. The great thing about social media now is that you can reach larger audiences in a quicker period of time. But outside of that, there's nothing stronger than seeing someone in person and sharing
Mhm.
your passion that way. And you are one of those people, like, you can see the passion right away. I know why you were always on the leaderboards, because I'm sure when you were around people, I mean, I loved the athleisure brand so much as well. And you wear the clothes and you feel good. And then other women felt good. And you could just show them how joyful and powerful all of that could be, and doing that in person, that's important. So I do really like that. And I'm in sales too. I'm a realtor. I've done network marketing and affiliate marketing. I really do think it's way more about the relationship and how you communicate with one another than it is anything else. And anybody that believes differently, they're probably not getting to the heart of what it's all about. So definitely, I think we can all learn from that. And then I just like how you were open to trying new things, because I think a lot of us early on, we say, here's our path, here's what we're going to do. And there's so many reasons why you alter that path. One of them brought you to your husband. So it's a good thing you left the one company and went to the other, right? That's a pivotal moment for sure.
Yeah, and I'm still and I love that about you too. I think it's so beautiful that you wear so many different hats. I respect that in you so much, and you're a people person too. And like I feel like talking to you, it just feels so comfortable. Thank you for making me feel so comfortable as well. Um, yeah, I mean, like sometimes I won't lie. I wonder what my next calling is. I'm always wondering, is there something out there that I don't know that I should be doing? Yeah, that crosses my mind. I do want to travel a little bit more, but I'm also just kind of content in my own skin. Like I don't feel like I need to conquer the world and do all these big things. I just want my relationships to get better and more satisfying and to nurture those. sometimes when I find like, what else do I need to be doing? So I'll be completely honest. I'll ask my husband because he's like my best friend, and he cracks me up. He's like, I feel like I'll put on the business hat because we talk business a lot. But at the end of the day, he's my confidant. I mean, he's who I talk to. But sometimes I'll ask him, I'm coming up on 60. Is there something I should be doing that? And I get emotional about it because sometimes I'm like, what is my calling? Am I supposed to be doing something else? And he'll look at me and he's like, honey, you're right where you're supposed to be. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And sometimes we think we're supposed to be doing more, but really we're probably doing the most we should right where we're at and don't even see it. Um, but yeah, I feel very fulfilled in my life. And I think it starts with just those little basic things. Sometimes I get lazy. Sometimes I think, God, I'm going to be 60. I don't want to learn anything new. I don't want to try anything new. But yeah, I think that God presents things for me. And, that's one of my prayers is God, show me what I'm supposed to be doing today. Like, what is your will for me today? What can I be doing? Show me, just show me if there's something I should be doing. Am I supposed to be reaching to somebody? And I think if I'm quiet and I'm just focused, sometimes those things come to me. Life is interesting, isn't it?
Really is. What you just said is the reason I started this podcast because I say that same prayer every single day. Show me. What am I supposed to be doing? Where am I supposed to be at? I feel like women question that so much. So many of us are like, what else is out there? I'm a mom, but I'm also this, and this. And what else am I supposed to be doing? And I think the best thing is to just stop for a second, be quiet and listen, and God will show you the way. And when I think of show me the way, that's exactly where it comes from. So, wow. I knew there were a lot of reasons I wanted to have you on this podcast, but you just brought home like the reason we're doing the podcast. So, so that was great. But yeah, I think sometimes we get so caught up in the day to day and the busyness, and we should be doing all of these things. And sometimes it's just like, take a breath. And your husband was a good therapist on that one because it's like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be for sure. And I do that every single day. Show me the way. What else am I supposed to be doing? But even just communicating, even just sharing a story, even if you inspire one person, I don't have millions of followers yet,
No,
but even if there's like 3 people that listen to this podcast, you're going to impact them. So that
I
means
love that.
something.
And I have to share something, like you always hear all this, are we enough? Like, are we enough? And that is a question that is so profound. It's almost scary. It's so profound. And like, how many times do you really just ask yourself, are you enough? And like, do you really feel like you're enough? Because if you don't feel like you're enough, you're going to constantly be trying to get affirmations from everybody. You need people to notice you. I'll tell you, the other day something happened that really I get emotional because it really moved me. I share on my Facebook page. I'm on Instagram. I'm a little old. I'm not as good on that, but Facebook has been my love because it's been about relationships for me, and it's more about the relationships, I think. And I try to show up and be about family, about my relationships with my mom, my husband, my boys, my friends are very, very important to me. But my relationship with myself is number one, because if that's not right, nothing else is going to work. My marriage is incredible today because I focus on me and he focuses on him, and we come together as a union. I got a message in my messenger from somebody that must be friends with me. We don't always know all of our friends, and she said, you inspire me every day. And I was so moved by that because that was a perfect example of you don't always know what other people are feeling, but I guess just being me is what moved her. And it really just it encouraged me to just keep sharing, because if one person feels inspired, maybe I just need to love myself a little more today, or maybe I need to go move my body around the neighborhood today. I can walk maybe around the neighborhood. If I can encourage people, that's what fills my soul. It really does. And I think that's the beauty of the connections that we have with other people. But yeah, I think as women, we are hard on ourselves. I have gotten so much better with not doing that anymore. I mean, it's progress, not perfection, but I think that's the beauty of me turning 60 is I feel good in my skin. I don't need other people to give me that validation. And I think that's the biggest lesson. And I will share with you, Andrea, because me and you've been through some of the changes. Is, the company that I was with for 4 years that I loved more than anything. And I gave a lot of my heart to it. And then of course, that's life. That's one of the things that happens in life is sometimes you love something and the business goes away or it changes. But one of the biggest lessons I've learned, and I think we all learn, we have to have a silver lining in everything we do in our life. And if we don't stop and look at it, then we'll constantly not learn and change. And one of the things I learned is that you're you. You're not that company. We get experiences by entering into different phases in our lives, whether it's relationships, whether it's with a different company, whether it's off social media or you're a realtor and you're going through a tough time. I mean, my husband's in the mortgage business. So I understand realtors. I have a lot of customers that buy my jewelry that are realtors. And at the end of the day, no matter what happens around you, it's who you are, it's your skills, your talents, all those things you bring, they're still with you. They don't leave. And that's the biggest lessons I've learned just in all the companies I've been in and all the things I've gone through is yeah, there's disappointments, but really at the end of the day, it's you that you bring. And you get to take you wherever you go in anything you do. And that was a big lesson that I learned. It's okay to give yourself, it's okay to put your heart and soul, but really, you are the only one that's going to have you. Everything can change. People can leave and companies can change but as long as you're still happy in who you are, you can take that to anywhere you go. And that was a big lesson for me. And the other thing I learned is balance. Don't lose yourself. I've lost myself in times where I was so motivated, so driven that sometimes I kind of lost some of the what was going around and didn't have the balance. And that's a big thing moving forward in my life is once I left the fitness business, I realized balance is everything. It's everything. It's having healthy marriage, healthy relationships with your children. Those are the relationships that are the most valuable. That was something I really learned.
That's very good advice. We had a guest on a few weeks ago who was also from that previous company, and she just kept saying, like, I'm my brand. It doesn't matter where I go or what I'm representing, I'm my brand. And I think about that a lot. She really made me continue to remember that because we wear different hats, we do all kinds of things, but as long as we show up who we are and we're consistent with ourselves and people understand what they're getting, that's the most important part. And the other thing you touched on, even when you brought up the real estate piece, I find that I compare quite a bit. So, everybody knows a realtor. So I'll say, oh, they're better at this and they're showing up better on social media. Oh, they just sold 3 houses and I don't have a deal right now. And it's really easy to fall into that trap. So you need to go back. You just reminded me to keep going back and saying, yes, but here's what I bring to the table. Here's the value that I can bring. So you always have to come back to who you are and who you're trying to show up as. So I think that's great advice.
And another key thing that has been a big moving force for me is you can't compare someone's outsides to your insides. And again, that's what gets back to liking who you are. I mean, who are you when no one's watching? Who are you? When the door is shut and you're alone and your kids are sleeping, your husband's, off maybe doing something and you're by yourself, do you like you? Do you like being with yourself? That's been a huge thing for me is everybody can look beautiful out there, but what do they like about themselves when they're not on social media? I had dinner with my son last night and he's 25 and he's been struggling trying to find another job and he goes, Mom, I went on Instagram and I looked at some of my high school friends and, they're on top of the mountains with their girlfriends or all this stuff. And I looked at him and I said, honey, don't do that. It will never feed you joy. It will never, ever make you feel good about yourself. I mean, even I can do that. I have to be in tune with myself. When I do that, this is what I try to do. I try to say, good for them. I'm happy for them. I'm happy that they're thriving. I'm happy that they're making money and maybe their husband's out of work and they're doing well. Good for them. Good for them. I'm happy for them. Because that's the way to feel good about yourself is to be happy for other people. If I sit there and go, oh, it literally does nothing for me. I have to be conscious about that. Is just bless and release, bless them and release them and be happy for them.
And doesn't it feel good to almost to say that out loud? All of a sudden, you just feel better. It's amazing when you actually say that and feel it authentically. It
Yes,
just makes you feel better.
Andrea, that is so true. And people work hard. People work hard. I mean, I work really hard behind the scenes. Like I might pop on jewelry here and there, but I spend a lot of time with my clients showing them how to wear their jewelry, showing them videos. Hey, do they need gifts? Like, don't even like around Christmas, I'm crazy. But yeah, people work hard. People work hard. And so the comparison thing is a bad place to get. And you've got to know when it's not working. Like you've got to be in tune with yourself to say, hey, this isn't healthy for me. This is not helping me. And that's the whole thing about like, again, the work begins with you. I spend a lot of time working on myself. My mom said to me the other day, she goes, you are so wise, honey. I love calling you and having you talk with me because I learned so much from my daughter. You're so wise. You're so bright. I spend a lot of time on myself. I do readings, I listen to things. I am just conscious of my behavior and what I say and how it comes out of my mouth. And believe me, I am a work in progress every day. Every day I need to learn something new. And I pray, God willing, that I'm always growing and being a better person. But I just believe you got to stop and do the work on yourself. When you're happy inside, I'm telling you, everything is better on the outside. Everything is.
I couldn't agree more. And talking about your son too, you made that was a good segue for that because you made me think about, isn't it kind of sad that kids that are teens and in their 20s, like that's when girl skin's perfect. That's when they've got their whole life ahead of them. They can still make all of these decisions, and they still get to start a family. They still get to decide where they want to live, and there's so many things that are great back then. But you almost compare yourself more then, or you question more, and it's like when we're older we're like we know, we've been there, don't do it. And you wish when you were that age you had the knowledge that you have now. I strongly believe that.
Honestly, like it's really even for me, because I will never be afraid to be completely honest, but sometimes it's tough. I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm getting older." I definitely got wrinkles. I mean, I do use great skincare and take care of myself, but at the end of the day, I'm aging. I'm aging. It is real. I've done jewelry shows and all the women are coming downstairs with ice packs on their face from somebody doing Botox and then they're shopping at my jewelry. And I've had people go, "You don't do anything? You've never done one thing?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't." It's almost weird. It's almost like I'm looked down on sometimes. I'm almost looked at like I don't do anything. Nope, I don't do anything and I'm okay with that. But it is the way we're living now. Like, see, it's crazy and I really feel for young girls. I really hope that this young generation has a support system around them to love them who they are and that they can find the tools, because there's tools. You can find tools, you can get a toolbox that can give them that confidence to love themselves and not get caught up in that I have to be pretty or I have to keep doing it to do what to be what for who. I mean, it is a really crazy time right now for sure.
Definitely. So you said that you had some good advice for your son. I loved what you said to him. And that's what these young people need. They need parents, they need people that they can go talk to that are going to remind them that they are so much more, or don't fall into the comparison trap because it's not a fun place to be. So do you feel like your sons follow kind of your lead and take on life similar to the way you do, just based on how you've raised them?
That's a great question. As a mom, you always hope you're doing the best. It's a hard job. I get emotional because sometimes I'm like, God, am I doing everything I can to give them what they need on their own, you know? I um I think the best gift that I give my boys is that I show them what love looks like. I show them. You can tell somebody you love them, but when you show them what real love looks like, that's how you learn. Not everybody's raised in a house with loving parents. I get to show my boys what a loving relationship looks like from hugging my husband and kissing him and telling him how handsome he looks today. And he gets to give me flowers for no reason so the boys can see God. That's a gift of love. But I think my boys see me happy in my skin. And I try to just love them where they're at. And, boys, my younger one's not as communicative and doesn't open up as much, but my older one is a little bit more. And I just tell him to just be you. Just be you. You're an amazing young man. Your real people will love the real you. Real people love the real you. And if you surround yourself with those kind of people, you don't have to be anybody but yourself. You don't have to you don't have to get approval from anybody else. But when you're young, you don't know yourself. You're learning yourself. Look, I'm going to be 60 and I'm more spiritual today than I've ever been in my whole life. I have a connection with God today that I never had years ago. So I think when you're young, you kind of, I'm sure my 20-year self was trying to like please everybody, and I didn't know who I was. But like you said, Andrea, we have the tools today. We have podcasts like what you're doing. Like, what a great thing. You're in your calling, by the way. You're phenomenal, by the way. I just want you to know you're a natural at this.
Thank you.
You really are. This is your calling because you're really good at asking the great questions. But this is a tool that's maybe somebody 20 is watching this and going, I probably need to love myself a little bit more today. I need to put my energy here, not all over the place. I need to put that relationship back into the relationship with me first. And when people say, God, my marriage sucks, or I'm not fulfilled, and I'm like, well, you know, are you happy with yourself? And they're like, oh, no, I'm not happy. Well, if you're not really happy with yourself, then you can't give that back to others. So I guess my number one thing is invest in yourself first. Put the mom hat down just a little bit and go do something for 30 minutes for yourself. This is something, Andrea, that my mom said to me. My mom and dad were married 58 years, and I lost my dad about 5 years ago, but they had the best marriage ever. The best marriage ever. I loved their marriage. And my mom gave me advice on my wedding day. She says, honey, when you have kids one day and those kids are gone, you're still going to be sitting at the dinner table looking across from your husband. They're going to be gone. They're moving on. You're still with the man that you're marrying. How do you want that to be? Do you want to have stuff in common with him? And I have kept that so close to my heart that I have worked on my marriage and had date night. And even in the crazy kid stuff, I I always arrange for date night. I don't care. I have to get out with my husband. And so, if you're in the throes of little kids, put the kids aside. I don't care how you have to do it. If it's me time you need, go do me time. If it's if it's marriage time, go have a date night. Go have a cup of coffee and laugh together. Or if you're craving time with your mom if they're aging, or your dad, make time for them. Or you need girl time. Like sometimes we just need a good girlfriend in our life. Go make the effort and say, I need you right now. I need a friend. Figure out what you need in your life and go to that area in your life at that time. Because if you don't, you will lose yourself along the journey. And I think that's why I'm so happy turning 60, that I feel good in where I'm at in my life. And, I think it's because I do the daily work. I do the daily work. And if I don't do it in the morning, I'll find time at the end of the day before I go to bed to reflect on my day. What could I do better that day? Was there somebody I need to go make an amends to? Did I say something to hurt somebody? Do I need to make an amends with somebody to clear my conscience and to feel good about myself? whatever that might be, did I open my mouth when I should have shut up? Should I just let that person experience their challenges without trying to control them? Let them live their life and me not get in the way. Like there's a lot of these things I have to be conscious of, and that's what I do throughout the day is I take a mental inventory of myself.
Well, I have taken so many notes here. Like you were saying at the beginning, you just need to listen because there's always little nuggets that you can take with you throughout the day. And you have shared so many. Usually, when I wrap up the episode, I will say, okay, what type of advice would you like to give to your younger self? But you just gave like pen drop, okay? Like that was amazing, and I think this is gonna resonate for people that are getting ready to turn 60 or 70 or even 50 because I'm doing that in a couple of years and I'm struggling with 50. So just hearing you say the things you're saying is such a lesson for people that are up there in age, but then also the young people that are just getting ready to experience life. They need to remember some of these things or hear these things so that they can maybe keep that in mind as they start to figure things out. Great advice. Wow.
Mm, thank you.
So I will give you one last opportunity before we wrap up. If there's anything else you would like to share, but like I said, I think some people have very specific stories they want to focus on, but you have just showed us all of the different paths you've kind of jumped on and turned around on throughout life and what it has done for you and how important it is to love yourself throughout the whole journey so that when you are getting ready to celebrate 60, you can do that with joy. But if there's anything else that you don't think you touched on, the mic is yours. I'll pick it back up.
I mean, I think it's just to not be afraid. It's just to wake up and just live in the day. Just conquer today. It sometimes can get scary. What is it going to look like? My mom's getting older. Oh my God, like I don't know what my life would look like without my mom. Or oh my God, my kids, I'm about to be an empty nester. Like, how's my son going to do at college on his own? And like there's real fears of just aging and life. And there's so much, I mean, but I just know that I can only focus on today. I have 24 hours for today. God willing, I have 20. I'm grateful I have today. We're not promised tomorrow. We're living on borrowed time. And so I just I just try to do the best I can in the day. I try to just be easy on myself and not beat myself up. Cuz hello, hello, it can be done. Like I can be all confident one day and there can be something that happens that triggers me and I can get into fear of, oh my God, like what if my business isn't successful? Or what if, the whole what ifs. But what gives me the peace is just to be in today and just stay here where my feet are. I always say if my head goes cuckoo, just stay where my feet are. Keep my head where my feet are. Just stay. And my other little thing is I don't need to worry about what everybody else is doing. I just need to be worried about what I'm doing. My favorite saying is there's no traffic in my lane. My
Of
lane, there's
that.
no traffic. If I'm just right here focusing on me, everything else is going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. And that kind of gives me some peace when the fear creeps in, because it does. I'm human. I'm a human. I'm emotional. But if I try to just do the best I can do in the day and not beat myself up, if I feel lazy, I feel lazy. If I feel frustrated, I feel frustrated. If I feel exhausted, whatever I'm feeling, just to honor the feeling and be okay with it and to know that God's got me where I'm supposed to be. And that's enough.
Well, I've said this a few times when I've interviewed people, but it's almost a God wink to me when I do these particular interviews. The fact that we chose today, because I'll be honest, I've been hunting Michelle down for some time, and we finally found a date and a time that worked. And this was exactly what I needed to hear right now. So
Mhm.
perfect timing and really good advice, like I said, for people that are closer to your age, people that are in their 30s, just getting into their families, people that are 19, 20 years old, getting ready to start out. So hopefully a lot of those different age groups listen to this very emotional and very inspiring podcast. Thank you so much for being here today. Everything you shared was exactly what we all needed today. So I appreciate you making the time. I'm going to let you get back to the rest of this 24 hours that you've got and make it a joyful day. But thank you so much for everything you shared and for being here with us.
Thank you too for having me. I adore you.
I adore you too. Thank you for joining us for the Show Me the Way podcast. We truly appreciate you tuning in to today's episode about overcoming adversity and finding your path. We hope it brought you new insights, empowered you with perspective, and inspired you to find joy in your journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who could use a little motivation. Until next time, keep seeking the light and showing the way.